Welcome to another edition of Anthony T's Horror Show. I'm Anthony T. In this edition, I'll be joined by special guest PJ Rahall as we will be chatting our favorite top 5 Halloween horror films. But there's a catch, everyone. None of these films can be films out of the Halloween franchise. Any of the iterations of the Halloween franchise. Meaning no Halloween franchise films will be on this list. Because if we did top 5 Halloween horror films, we would have at least 2 or 3 Halloween films on that list. Seriously. And I wanted to make it challenging. I wanted to put a spotlight on all the other Halloween horror films that are out there. Because there are a ton of Halloween horror films. So that's what I wanted to do with this episode. To give more exposure to all the other Halloween horror that's out there. I could do a whole episode on the Halloween franchise. Seriously. Top 5 films of the Halloween franchise in any of the timelines. That's easy enough to do one episode with. So I decided personally to do a episode where it's top 5 Halloween horror films that are not in the Halloween franchise. And since this takes up pretty much the entire podcast, Lionsgate is spared of a rant this episode. And don't forget, I haven't forgotten about you guys, Lionsgate, seriously, and about that dismal trilogy that you guys have going on still. I do have some thoughts, even though I haven't seen a movie in this trilogy that nobody wanted. But I do have thoughts on that, seriously. Because I've never seen a horror trilogy that is a complete failure. So don't forget, Lionsgate, I still have to get to you guys about that abomination of a trilogy you guys continue to put in theaters. And we haven't gotten to the 3rd film yet. So we got one more film to go in this abomination of the trilogy. And it's already an abomination after 2 films. And I'll run down the numbers to tell you why it's an abomination and possibly the worst horror trilogy in the history of horror trilogies. So I will do that next episode, guaranteed, unless something comes up. So I haven't forgot about you guys, Lionsgate. Seriously, I do have a rant on that. But I will be back with the main topic, top 5 Halloween horror films that are not in the Halloween franchise. Then, of course, I have a What's Anthony T watching, but I'll leave it a mystery.
Welcome to Dark Discussions, your place for the discussion of horror film, fiction, and all that's fantastic. A weekly podcast where the discussion is about the most recent horror and genre films. Intelligent talk on a genre that deserves intelligence. A conversation between co-hosts discussing not only the film, but also the connotation that the directors and screenwriters are trying to articulate. When you want more than a review, listen to Dark Discussions.
And speaking of perception, there's just one more scene I want to talk about, which is after Caleb discovers that Kyoto's a robot. Kyoto kind of peels off her skin, showing him what's underneath.
Now, wait a minute. I know where you're going with this, but tell me you weren't already thinking this 15 minutes earlier in the film. Exactly what he's thinking at that moment.
Which is he's a robot too.
Oh, I considered the possibility.
Right, and that's what I like, is the fact that the writers were smart enough to know that this is what the audience would be thinking.
We've all seen Blade Runner.
Right, exactly.
www.darkdiscussions.com, wherever podcasts are found.
And we're on. Welcome back. I'm here with PJ Randall from Throwdown Thursday Podcast. It's been a while since you've done a new episode, so don't mind me.
That's okay. We actually just put up a new episode last week after a 10-month hiatus.
Yeah, and you're also a film director as well.
Yes, my wife Ashes and I run Magenta Manor Productions. We are both writer, director, actors. You can catch some of our stuff. I'm not sure what date this episode is going to be airing, but on November 8th in Salem at Cinema Salem, Ash's film Multi-Level Massacre, which has won multiple awards in multiple states, will be playing at Happenstance Horror Fest. Same weekend, it'll be playing at Access Film Fest in Framingham. So if you're able to get to either one of those, it'll be there. You can also catch us at the Dead of Winter Horror Festival in February, the 21st and 22nd in Worcester. We are still finalizing our location, but we've been at Mechanics Hall the last couple of years. We might be moving to a new space this year, but check out Dead of Winter on Facebook, and you'll be able to see all the comings and goings and wheelings and dealings of our little film community.
Okay, so definitely check that out. That will be with all the other filmmakers from the area, right?
Yep, we have if you are a filmmaker and you want to submit your short horror film, we're on Film Freeway, and we have a discounted rate till November 30th. And then I think submissions close completely in January because we have to put the whole thing together. But we have folks who have submitted from New York and Pennsylvania and even Tennessee. So we're very excited to kind of broaden this out. It's basically, we're just trying to help promote independent filmmakers. In most of these films, we've gotten a chance to see either at other festivals where we've met some of these filmmakers. It's been a great journey, and we really, really appreciate the folks in the indie film community.
Well, I brought you on here to talk about our favorite 5 Halloween films with a catch. None of these films can be in the Halloween franchise, meaning it cannot be in the original Halloween franchise, the Rob Zombie Halloween franchise, or the David Gordon Green Halloween franchise. We have to make it tough.
Yeah, you definitely threw a curveball at me.
The reasoning for this is, if I did that, I probably have 3 or 4 films on my top 5 Halloween films list. And with the whole Halloween franchise, you can just do a whole episode on your top 5 films from the franchise.
Oh, easy.
There is 5 films you can pick out of.
So, yeah, easily. And I think with a lot of people, it would probably be either Halloween 1 or Halloween 3 would be at the top of their list.
Yeah, I probably put Halloween 1, Halloween 3, Halloween 4, David Gordon Green's Halloween, Rob Zombie's original Halloween. So I couldn't do that episode.
Yeah, it'd be tough. It would be tough.
It would be leaving a lot of films out.
And we don't want to do that. We want to include different stuff, especially like if we come up with something, and I know you do. You are so well versed in like the underground horror scene. Like, we may come up with something that folks have never heard of, and we're recording this on October 1st. So it's like, this is the start of spooky season. If you haven't figured out what you want to watch this month for your horror fix, maybe something that we come up with, piques your interest.
Yeah, exactly. Now let's get to our list. Why don't you start off, Patrick, since you're my guest?
Well, I appreciate it. I'm going to start with my number 5 film. And this is the one I was telling you off the air was a little bit controversial. The entirety does not take place on Halloween, but the majority of the climax and the ending, the second and third acts, take place on Halloween and the following morning. And that is 2018's The Predator, directed by Shane Black.
Oh, no!
I knew it. I knew you were going to be upset with me.
That film gives me bad memories. It was the last film I saw when I was at the $2 Patriot Cinema in East Providence before that got torn down due to health violations.
Probably everybody getting sick from watching that movie. But I got to tell you, it's one that I didn't think was going to be on your list because I wanted to pick something that you weren't going to pick, and I knew you weren't going to pick this one. But I enjoy it for what it is. It's fun. I like that they brought Jake Busey in as Peter Keyes? No, Peter Keyes was the first one. Whatever, the son of Gary Busey from Predator 2. I just thought it was really cool that they did that. Yeah, it was kind of fun. I was really looking forward to it as, Shane Black being such a good writer-director. And I'm like, oh man, we haven't had like a really solid Predator movie. But without that movie doing poorly, we wouldn't have Dan Trachtenberg stuff. We wouldn't have Prey. We wouldn't have Killer of Killers. And we wouldn't, in a few weeks, have Predator Badlands. So as much as I know you want to rip on it, that movie opened the door for Dan Trachtenberg.
I think it opened the door for Disney to make really good Predator movies.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Look at what they've done with the Alien franchise, too.
Oh, so good. So good. I loved Alien Earth.
Yeah, I haven't seen the last episode, but that show is great. And Romulus was a very good film.
Absolutely. But
the Predator almost literally killed that franchise. That was one of those films that is a franchise killer. It was
close.
It was just too predictable. Everybody going to one place to another. They kept too many people alive till the last act of the film. It gets so ridiculous. That's what really killed it for me.
Yeah, and I think the Iron Man suit at the end kind of was just a little bit too much. What's that? That's my new suit, Bubba. Oh God, come on. All right, what's your number 5?
It's a film that came out last year. Since the Hollywood Reporter is putting out all these 24, 25 films on their top lists, I might as well put one on my list. And it's Late Night with the Devil at number 5.
I haven't seen that one yet.
That is such a great film. It's like a fake broadcast, fake documentary. It has a great lead performance from David. What was his last name? Yeah, Dastmalchian. That's just such a hard name to pronounce.
Oh, yeah. My wife calls him David Dalmatian sometimes.
I always do it too. But anyway, that was such a great film. The cinematography was very good. The direction
I've heard great things. My wife loved it.
The direction was very good as well. It's like they kept your interest through the entire time. And that third act is just mind-blowing.
I will definitely have to check it out.
Literally, it is such a very good film. And if it wasn't for the fact that Nosferatu and The Substance came out last year, that would have been my number 1. because I
over
think for
over
time,
Long Legs too.
I did not see Long Leg.
Oh, you would like Long Legs.
I
That's
still
good
have to
stuff.
see that.
It's good stuff.
That.
I mean, I'm a sucker for Nick Cage, so
I know I'm a sucker for Nick Cage too, but I don't even think it could beat Nosferatu. That was such a great film.
The cinematography in Nosferatu was beyond reproach.
It was. It was the perfect vampire film.
I'll go with that. Yeah,
that's the type of vampire films I want to see. Not
it was very, very, along with I think a good companion piece to that would be Last Voyage of the Demeter. I think if you watch the two of those, make it a double feature, you'd be very, very happy with your vampire films.
I have to see that one. I do have that one though.
Oh, I think you'll really like that. It's savage, brutal Dracula.
And I think David,
he's in that one too. Yeah,
he's also in that one too.
And Liam Cunningham from Game of Thrones and Dog Soldiers.
All right, Patrick, you're number 4.
Number 4 is hold on, I want to just pull up the director because this is an older one. And I remember watching this the first time, and they have a shot that's in they're in a convenience store. And as soon as I saw it, and I was like, yep, this is a 1988 movie directed by Kevin Tenney. And there's a girl bending over. There's a close-up right on her ass.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
That's Linnea Quigley, Night of the Demons.
Oh, I so wanted to put this on my list. That was the film that was talking to you off air that you'd be surprised was not on my list.
I am kind of surprised, but I'm glad one of us brought it up because that one, I obviously, Linnea, her from, Silent Night, Deadly Night, her from Return of the Living Dead. She's always half naked running around. This one, wild, where she's like, she gets possessed and she's smearing the makeup all over herself. And a great practical effect, even though it's really weird, is when she takes when she's done smearing the lipstick all over her face and she takes the tube and sticks it right through her boobs. Like, that was weird. She like crams it in like through her nipple. It was like one of the weirdest shots. But that one, it's a fun one. It's definitely a fun one, and that's why it's number 4 on my list.
Yeah, I love the whole series.
I've only seen the first one.
I've seen all 3 of them. The first 2 are great. The third one was okay, but by then the third one, I was like complaining about Whole House, how it looks so bright, and it's like, Whole House is never that nice. It's so grungy and dark and creepy.
Yes.
So in that third one, it just made it look like a nice, bright house. It's like, what the hell?
Maybe they were just trying to, switch it around, give it like nice, bright colors, like an Argento film, like say Suspiria, that's got the nice, bright colors.
No, but still, I'm just a purist. Okay, my number 4 film is a film that you would not think would be on my list. Because this is one of those films where I would dub as a convention film. Now, before I go into it, the term convention film is where you get a bunch of celebrities that are on the convention circuit and they make cameos for a film. This film has Pancho Moller, Courtney Gaines, PJ Souls, and the late Tony Todd. I'm talking about the film Candy Corn as my number 4 film. What makes this film very good was the fact that this was great. I like the fact that this had a very dark and ominous feel throughout. The fact that director Josh Hasty does a very good job in the way he handles the direction. He keeps the action moving at a good pace. As there are some very good gore scenes in this film. Mm-hmm. There's also some very good dramatic scenes that help move the story along. The film also has some really good chemistry between Courtney Gaines and Pancho Moller. As I thought the acting in this film was very good, surprisingly.
I thought he was really good. Yeah, I agree.
I just wish Pancho Moller got more roles. Seriously, the guy can act.
Yeah.
Besides the Rob Zombie films, he can be in your film in a supporting role, and he can give you a good performance.
I definitely think he should get some more roles as well. Like, you know, but it seems like all the good roles for dwarfs or little people they're all going to Peter Dinklage. But I also think that they're strong enough actors. I mean, obviously, I think Dinklage is a much better performer than Pancho Moller. But
obviously,
they don't have to just be typecast in dwarf roles. Like, they could play like a guy who works at a bank or like, you know, the shady leader of a gang or something like that. Like, they have the chops for it.
Yeah, and Pancho Moller pretty much plays the sadistic villain in the film.
Yeah, and I think he could do more than that.
Which, he can do more than that, yes, definitely. You saw it in 3 from Hell as well, where he can also play the nice guy.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a very strong actor, and there's a lot that he can do.
And the fact that Courtney Gaines was also very good, too. He, I think, also co-wrote the screenplay of this film as well. Or
I believe you're correct.
But yeah, I wish he would write some more films, seriously.
Yeah, I think he needs to get more exposure. I think people need to know more. Because this was, like, I was surprised. You know, I was one of those people that was like, oh, you know, this is, you know, it's blowing up. Everybody's talking about it. I'm going to, you know, I'll pick it up because I like the physical media. Let's check it out. And Ash and I both really liked it. I was surprised at how good it was.
I was like literally blown away when I watched that film because I was just expecting a convention film. That's it.
Yeah, people just there for a day, you know, for a few $100 and lunch and not really putting much into it. But I think everybody enjoyed what they were doing. And I think that speaks to both the director, the production, and the crew that was on it. And
the film also has a great cinematographer, too, because the cinematography in that film is also very good.
Oh, yeah, the lighting, the editing, like that, it was done well. As someone who has been, over the last couple of years, started to do that himself, learning how to edit and color grade, and that's where the real direction of the movie can come in, because you can tell the story however you want, shoot it however you want, but it's all done in the editing.
All right, your number 3, Patrick.
My number 3 is a film that is steeped in tragedy. It doesn't just take place on Halloween. It also takes place the following day. This one is a 1994 film directed by Alex Proyas. I'm talking, of course, about The Crow.
Oh, I forgot.
See, I'm glad I was trying to think outside the box.
I was not even thinking about that film. It's just with the whole tragedy about the production of it, that probably
Brandon Lee. Well, it's technically not Halloween. It's Devil's Night that they really go with. but it's like it takes place over a period of a few days, and Halloween is technically one of the days that that it takes place on. And it's such a good movie. It's been a while since I've seen it. I have not seen the remake, and I don't really intend to.
Me neither.
I was referring to Bill Skarsgård as the Croaker because he looked a lot like Jared Leto from Suicide Squad. So I was not really interested in that one. But yeah, I was. I remember seeing it as a kid on VHS with a buddy of mine, and he told me about it. And the only part that I really had an issue with was like, oh, he got stabbed in all of his organs in alphabetical order. I'm like, that sounds cool, but what does that mean? Like, did he go like appendix, brain, colon, duodenum? Like, like, is that how they did it? Like, eyes, what's F? I don't know if there's I'm sure there's something with F, but like it sounded a lot cooler than it probably would have been in real life. And like, how do you know he was stabbed in alphabetical order? Stop it.
Yeah, I did not think about that film.
It's a good one.
I know some films are gonna bleed days and up to Halloween, so that's fine.
Oh yeah, as long as it's a Halloween themed film, like, if it's something that takes place, like we were talking off air about, like E.T. kind of counts because part of the movie takes place on Halloween. Like when he's dressed up as a ghost and sees Yoda.
Yeah. Now my number 3, and you probably would have had a feeling we would go there at some point in this episode. I'm talking about the Terrifier franchise.
Okay.
Because literally this franchise has really been the big one to me in the last 10 years. Literally. I've never been excited for a series of films such as that. And the fact that it's had 3 films and they've all been great films speaks volume. But the one I'm choosing is Terrifier 2. First of all, I chose that one is this one actually has a story. It doesn't go and change the narrative halfway through the film like the first one did. This one has an actual story. This one probably also has the most shocking death scene in the whole franchise. The bedroom scene.
I had a problem with that one. Like, I get what they were going for, but it's like, that girl would have been dead so many times and so long before that. But after thinking about it, I think part of the mystique around Art the Clown is that he is able to keep his victims alive longer. Like, that's the type of like demonic spirit or whatever he is, because there's never really been an explanation for what he is. But I think that's part of his ability, his powers are to prolong your torment and keep you alive in a situation where you should not be, like, because that like she would have lost like all of her blood. It's kind of like when someone becomes a Cenobite, like that type of thing. Like, they're kept alive by the Leviathan through stuff that would kill them. Like, they should be dead. And this girl definitely should be. She should have died like 16 times or gone into shock. But the fact that like she's still alive, she's still able to register all these injuries and these wounds, and then the bleach and the salt and all that. Like, I think that might be part of his ability. But like I said, the first time I watched it, I'm like, come on. But then, thinking about it and thinking of like him and like what he can do, Still not the best kill in the franchise. That's the first one. That's the girl upside down with the saw. That's the best kill.
Yeah, but I think I chose this one over the first infamous death is because the aftermath when the mother comes home.
Oh yeah.
And sees her child just being skinned alive by Art the Clown.
Oh yeah.
That's why I think that has more of an impact for me than the first one.
And that's fine. Like, everybody's got their preference. There's no wrong answer when it comes to, the best kill in a franchise or the best kill in horror. There's no wrong answer to that. Like, whatever you think, that's the right answer.
Then it leads to another scene where he's using, I'm guessing, the mother's head for a candy bowl.
Yeah, it's kind of like the guy at the first one that he turned into a jack-o'-lantern.
But anyway, what I liked about this besides that was it started to build a story in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't feel like we were going to have these one-off films. You finally started to have a protagonist and an antagonist. And that's what makes great horror franchises. Not having these single horror films. Like, say, the Saw films, for example. You do have an antagonist, but you have 10 million different protagonists who you think they are protagonists, or are they really antagonists? You can't figure that out in the Saw franchise.
Well, I also, to kind of go with what you're saying on this, I totally agree with you, because when you think about, it's your Ghostface and Neve Campbell there until they recast her and got rid of her in the last two movies, which was stupid. Nancy and Freddie. You got Ashley Lawrence, Kirsty, and the Cenobites. Like, those back and forths, like, those are the best ones. Even Tommy Jarvis and Jason for, a lesser extent.
Yeah, once you have a protagonist and an antagonist in a horror franchise, that's when your horror franchise is great.
Yeah.
And thankfully, Damien Leone decided to start that in Terrifier 2. Because without that, you don't get a great Terrifier 3.
Correct.
Because I still think Terrifier 3 is the best film overall in the franchise so far.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Let's just say Leone improves a lot on writing characters.
It's good to know. Yeah, several of my friends worked on that as on the crew on Terrifier 2 and 3. My friend Zach was the contact lens technician for Terrifier 2.
Yeah. But back to what I was saying. That's nice to have a lot of friends work on different films too, because you never know if they're going to work on a big film like the Terrifier franchise or a little film like your films, for example.
Oh yeah, and it's great to be able to go back and forth. Like a friend of mine who was in my second film, because I only had one actor in my second film. She just finished Super Troopers 3 as the prop master. And that's how I met her, on a big set. So like, yeah, you never know who's gonna be on what. The guy who runs Happenstance, George Frazier, was in the not the current season, but the previous season of Walking Dead, Dead City. He was in a couple of scenes. Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
which I know they also recently
which I think
shot in your area. Patrick?
I don't know what happened. My internet got wonky for a minute. My back?
Yeah, you're back. Now, I was just saying, just like
Okay.
they just shot
Sorry about
Walking Dead in your area again.
Yeah, they were back in Worcester. They filmed last year. They filmed it in Worcester, and they just did it again. I'm hoping they come back, and at some point, I get to actually work on it. I've been trying to get either in front of the camera or behind the camera. I'd love to do either one.
Your number 2?
My number 2 is we talked about him at the beginning of the show because he was part of a franchise that we're not allowed to talk about. But my number 2 is House of 1,000 Corpses by Rob Zombie. This one was definitely got that gritty, grimy feel that I don't think he has been able to recapture. I think the closest he came might be 31, but I think this might be his best film. But yeah, I had to go with House of 1,000 Corpses. No, that's not you don't approve.
No,
you don't approve.
That felt like a 90-minute music video.
Well, yeah, like when you think about what his like inspiration always was for his music, and like he kind of does do that in this film. I think it's his best because it's the most raw and like the least polished. Like it certainly has, as far as just the overall look goes, I think this was his lowest budget film. This one definitely feels like I'm going to grab a bunch of my friends and we're going to make a movie. It has that indie horror feel to it. That like this is something you'd probably see at a festival if his name wasn't Rob Zombie. Like, and you'd have to catch it at the festival because he's not going to get distribution, but because he is who he is, I think that's why we got this movie.
Yeah. I tried watching it again, like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And I was thinking to myself, that film looks so out of date. It was crazy. Literally. When you watch a film and you can tell a film's just outdated, that was like my feeling when watching it again. And it still didn't help me like the film because it made me still hate the film.
I mean, sometimes on a rewatch, you find something that you like and that you really latch onto, but it doesn't always happen.
Oh yeah, I can remember watching Jason X the first time, hating it, then watching it a couple more times, then thinking it's the greatest guilty pleasure film of all time because of the horrible dialogue and everything.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't believe in guilty pleasure films. I believe you like what you like, and if somebody else doesn't, well, they don't have to watch it.
All right, let's move on. Now,
all right, what's your number 2?
My number 2 and my number 1 film pretty much have the same title. And I'm not kidding. But in different...
I think I know what you're going to go with.
Variations of the title.
It's one
My
from
number-
1986.
Yeah, number 2 films from 1986. Yes, Trick or Treat. Now, this is a film I discovered was on one of those Roku channels. Saw the trailer. Oh, what is this film? I have to see this film so bad that I kept watching the channel and waiting for it maybe to catch on to seeing that film. Finally quoting it one day, and I really been a big fan of this film ever since. Now, an interesting fact about this film, it's directed by veteran character actor Charles Martin Smith. And this is an actor that's appeared in supporting roles for George Lucas, John Carpenter, and Brian De Palma. This is definitely one of my favorite Halloween films, period. It features cameos from Gene Simmons of Kiss and the late Ozzy Osbourne as the Reverend. Now, an interesting fact on this film, when they released the DVD around the 2000s, they put Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne's face on the cover of the DVD cover. Here's the only problem. They only made cameos in the film. Talk about misleading.
They're in it, though.
They're in it, but you're misleading people to thinking they're the stars of the film. When the actual star is Mark Price.
Well, to be fair, on the cover of Land of the Dead, the zombies played by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright are right on the cover, and they're in it for about 2 seconds.
I did not notice that.
Yep, they're on the cover.
I never noticed that. Now, one of the things I liked about this film was the screenplay. They do a very good job focusing on the main character, whether it's the way they deal with the bullying that he deals with, which turns him towards the supernatural, and his idol Sammy Kerr, to him trying to stop what he caused before all hell breaks loose. It's just done in a way that is keeping your interest throughout the entire film. I love the fact that it came out on Blu-ray finally a couple years ago through Synapses Films. It's a great Blu-ray. It has a great documentary on the Blu-ray on the making of this film. As I believe is Red Shirt Pictures that kind of put this film out, because they have their own label now. As they're putting out a lot of these cult films that you have heard of from the 90s. Like, I think they're putting out Hello, Mary Lou, Prom Night 2 soon. And a lot of others. But they're starting to put out these films that have been considered lost. I am so happy that some of these films are finally ending up on Blu-ray. Literally. But back to the review. I also love the soundtrack of this film by 80s metal band Fastway. And the film features very good performances from Mark Price and the late Tony Fields as he played the film's villain, Sammy Kerr. This is definitely worth checking out if you're into heavy metal and horror, as this is definitely the perfect movie that blends both those genres.
I think if you want to do a triple feature, You add this to, of course, Rocky Horror and Phantom of the Paradise.
Oh, yeah. Those are two really good films.
Triple feature, those three. And you could really watch all three of them this month because they're all, obviously Rocky Horror has horror right in the name. But Phantom of the Paradise, phenomenal film. Phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. I finally watched that for the first time a couple years ago. That was really good.
Which one, Phantom or Rocky Horror?
Phantom.
Oh yeah,
Phantom.
I
Rocky Horror. I've watched since 2011.
I'm just asking.
2012.
I'm just asking.
It's literally one of my favorite horror films of all time.
I myself also just got to exposed to Phantom of the Paradise a couple of years ago. Good stuff. Paul Williams is, and I had only I was like, man, I know this guy from something. Yeah, he was in one of the Planet of the Apes movies. Let me see. Hold on, I have all three of them. Battle for the Planet of the Apes. That's what he's in. He plays one of the orangutans. So that just leaves number one, right?
Yep.
And guess what? We have the same number one.
Yeah.
2016, right? No, it's before that. 2008. 2008's Trick or Treat.
Trick or Treat.
By Michael Dougherty.
Yeah, the film that Warner Brothers did not want you to see.
We watched that, Ash and I. Oh, I'm sorry, 2007. I was wrong. We watch it every Halloween. And Michael Dougherty went on to direct Godzilla 2014. Yeah, this one, you could kind of consider this almost a convention film. Not that, it has a lot of cameos in it.
Yeah, but these are like A-listers.
Yeah, Anna Paquin,
Brian Cox.
Yep. And what's his name?
Dylan Neal, I think.
Dylan. I think that's his name. Dylan Baker.
Dylan Baker, yeah.
Yep. And then Quinn Lord in two roles. Quinn Lord got to be Sam, and he was the little kid, like peeking in on the girls when they were getting changed. Plus Brett Kelly, who people might know from Bad Santa. Leslie Bibb. I mean, she was also in Iron Man and an underrated horror movie based on a Clive Barker story that not a lot of people are aware of, but it's Leslie Bibb, Bradley Cooper, and Vinnie Jones. The Midnight Meat Train. That's one I recommend if people haven't seen it.
I have to see that. I have to see that.
It's good stuff. It's some of the darker Clive Barker stuff. I didn't mean to rhyme that, but it came out really cool. So you give your reason. I gave my reasoning. We watch it. I love an anthology film. I love a film that the timeline, like you don't know where, when you start watching it, you don't know where you are in the story, and that's just perfect. But what are your reasonings for putting this as number one on your list?
That's one of them there. I love the fact that this has this Pulp Fiction type style.
Yes.
Of storytelling. How this film goes like a 180, a full circle. You start at literally the end of the film. Then you move up as the night goes on. Then you go to the last house. Then you end up back to the beginning of the film. I love those films where it goes 180.
Yeah, it's non-linear storytelling is it doesn't start at point A and go to point B. It's like you're saying, it's a full circle. It's a 360. You start at point A, get all the way to Z, and you're back at A again. Like, it's fantastic. And the way they are able to introduce the characters and like give you kind of the background on who each character is really throws you off, because by the end of the movie, you're like, oh, I thought that was the main antagonist, and oh no, they're just another victim.
That's what I loved also about it. Every story had a shocking ending to it. That's what made it great. I consider Trick or Treat as probably the greatest horror anthology film ever made. And even with Creepshow out there, I still consider that film the greatest because of this nonlinear storytelling. Plus, it has this comic book feel to it as well.
I think I agree with you. Like it literally has all the comic stuff.
It's like, that's what you want in a Halloween film or a horror film. Something that is fun. Something that is different. I don't know why Warner Brothers was
unpredictable.
I don't know why Warner Brothers was so scared of this film that it took so
because it's
long.
Not predictable. That's really it. It's not the same formulaic, okay, killer on the loose, kills a bunch of teenagers, one girl stands up to him, able to beat him, and then there's an ambiguous ending whether or not he's going to come back, but you're pretty sure he is. It's like, is he really dead? Oh no, he's going to come back. But like, that girl's going to be there waiting for him. Again, like having, like what you talked about earlier, having the same antagonist and protagonist in multiple films, whether it's Scream or Nightmare or Friday the 13th or Hellraiser, it's the same people coming back over and over and over again. Like, again, you mentioned it with Terrifier. This kind of threw that on its head, and the only consistent character throughout the entire thing is Sam.
Yeah, and the thing also I never liked about the history of this film was this got dumped to Blu-ray. This had no theatrical release. And it was sad. It played the festivals. Then we were waiting and waiting and waiting. We had fans bitching, we want this film, we want this film, we want this film. And Warner Bros. Decided, we'll just throw it out on Blu-ray. Here. Just like a normal Blu-ray release.
And it's become a huge hit.
They left a lot of money on the table with that film. They did. And
I mean,
if this was 2025, they would have put this in theaters, because look what Weapons did at the box office with its unpredictable storytelling and nonlinear storytelling. This film would have been in theaters in 2025.
Yeah. I think it would have crushed at theaters in 2007, 2008, whenever they decided to release it.
And the sad thing is, it took Warner Brothers for Weapons to show Warner Brothers that nonlinear storytelling works.
Yes. Because if they made Weapons around that same time, that probably would never have gotten into theaters. No, never.
It's like, because they didn't want to take risks. They're too scared. It's like, you probably spent what, $15 million on that film, literally?
Yeah, something like that.
50, 20 million? It's more like low risk, high reward.
Yeah, I think they definitely could have gotten a huge return on investment had they just, you know,
put it in theaters.
Yeah, and figured, hey, you know what? We can do this. We can get our investment back easy, because they didn't really promote it or advertise it even when they distributed it.
Yeah, which was a sad thing.
Yeah, because you see how successful it became and how much better it could have performed, on a global scale, if they actually put the effort into promoting it and giving it the, treatment that it deserved. It's like, you'll put all this garbage into theaters, but when somebody actually comes up with something good, again, Sinners comes to mind. You won't promote, something like that. But when you have an original idea, it's like,
you probably do that.
Whatever, fine, we'll put it in theaters, and then it absolutely just crushes it.
Plus, you had the talent there in Sinners.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan,
Black
you really can't go wrong.
So
the
film I have to check out.
You haven't seen it yet?
No, I haven't seen it yet. But the guy has had a lot of hits, so technically,
I think you'll like this one. It's really good.
Yeah,
everybody is excellent in this. It's a vampire film second.
That is good to know.
Think about it like this. Like when you first watched From Dusk Till Dawn, you weren't thinking, oh, all right, this is a vampire film. You're thinking this is like a crime thriller. That's kind of how Sinners is. When it turns into a vampire film, it's a complete tonal shift, and it's actually done well, as opposed to Zach Kreger in Weapons, where it's like supernatural horror, supernatural horror, supernatural horror. Nope, now it's a Benny Hill routine. Just my opinion. I didn't like the way it went from serious horror to, okay, now it's a comedy for the last 5 minutes.
I think that's what makes that film very good, I think. That's my opinion.
Strongly disagree. But it's like, you're supposed to take everything so seriously. And like, this is a real threat. And then it's like, nope, it's not a real threat. Look at how wacky we all are. Boop-a-doop-a-doo.
The film went wacky once the aunt started showing up.
She was fine as a villain. I liked her a lot.
Yeah, but she was started to go wacky when she first showed up at the school.
I gotta say though, the police department in that town is beyond inept.
Yeah.
And what's the rule in filmmaking, in storytelling? Show don't tell, right? So they're like, oh, I'm pretty sure that cop cheated on his wife with that other lady. And it's like, yep, that was heavily implied. But it's like, oh, no, wait, we're not sure people will get that. We have to show them having sex now. It's like, oh, really? Like,
well, you have to connect all these characters. He was the main character.
But they already connected him. Like, it was implied. Like, her giving him a ride the next morning, it's like, yeah, they spent the night together. You know how I know they spent the night together? They woke up in the same bed, and she had to drive him to his car. I don't need to see them having sex to know that they had sex. Like, but it's like, oh, I got to make sure I show this. It's like, oh, did this guy rough up this kid? Oh, let's show him beating the crap out of the kid. Like,
you're trying to tell. My thing was, you're trying to tell the story through each character's point of view. That's probably why you did that.
But you already showed it from both of their points of view. That's all I'm saying. It's like it seemed unnecessary. It was extra stuff that like we already got an hour earlier. It's kind of like it was there to pad the runtime. It's like, oh, were you wondering if they had sex an hour ago? Well, here's them having sex. Yup, they totally did. It's like, yeah, okay, great. can you get to more about like who this woman is and who, like, what is going on with these people? Why is this guy stabbing himself in the face with a fork? What kind of control do you have? Does no one notice that an 8-year-old is buying soup for 40 people every couple of days? Like, that doesn't raise a red flag. How is it that Josh Brolin is the guy who puts it, hey, all these kids ran in the same direction. Hey, cops, did you have all this information? Yep. And I just want to point out that the opening narration is a goddamn lie, because they're like, and the kids, they all left their houses. They went downstairs and out the front door at 2:17 a.m. and they never came home. And it's like, yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. We literally see Josh Brolin carrying his son home. So, yeah, they all came home. Like, why would you lie at the beginning of the movie? Like, yep, the kids disappeared. They were gone forever, except until they were found a few days later. It's like, wait, why would you lie about that?
Lie all the time.
But that's so stupid. It's like, you're going to show. It's like, that's like, you know, it's like I'm telling a story and it's like, yeah, and I was in the woods and this bear came and it killed me and I died. Oh, really? But you're telling the story to me now. Yeah, but the bear killed me and I died. That's how the story goes. But the bear clearly didn't kill you and you didn't die. Oh, right. Yeah, I got away. It's like, yeah, no shit. I know that. But why would you tell me the other thing? You know, it's
we
like
tend to disagree on weapons.
Well, it's kind of like the point that gets brought up in the original Pirates of the Caribbean film, when they're like, yeah, the Black Pearl, they take no survivors, and like this is what happens. It's like, no survivors. Where do the stories come from? You know, there has to be at least one survivor for you to tell the story.
Oh, well, we gotta wrap this up.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So, Patrick, how can they find you on social media and through your podcast and all your other ventures?
All right, so Magenta Manor Productions on Facebook. That's our filmmaking endeavor, my wife Ashes and I. You can find us at Dead of Winter Entertainment, both on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, Patrick Rahall, all one word. I'm fairly active on there. Like I'm not super active on Facebook and Instagram, but when I am, that's where I go. You can find our podcast, Throwdown Thursday, which again we just brought back last week. We do it every other week. We used to do it every week, but things are insane, and we're filmmakers. There's constantly conventions and film festivals, and occasionally we try to sleep. But yeah, we have any of those avenues are good ways to reach out to us.
Well, Patrick, I want to thank you for coming on to the podcast again.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on. This is a lot of fun. I always enjoy talking horror with you.
And have a good day.
Thanks, buddy. You too.
Every day there's a family struggling with hospital bills to care for their sick child who is fighting an illness. There's a woman who is fighting breast cancer and is having trouble making ends meet while paying for their treatment. And there are burn victims that are going through treatments to heal their deep wounds. There is a charity in the horror community that helps these people. Scares That Care is an organization that helps families deal with the bills for their child. They help women get the treatment they need to fight breast cancer, and they help people who are dealing with severe burns get the help they need to heal. Scares That Care is a 100% volunteer organization, and 501c3 nonprofit charity that is dedicated to helping these people in fighting real monsters. To find out more information or to donate to Scares That Care, you can go to www.scaresthatcare.org. Every donation helps Scares That Care fight real monsters. If you want to find out the latest news for Anthony T's Horror and Wrestling Show, you can follow the podcast on the Slasher app, Facebook, and Instagram at Anthony T's Horror and Wrestling. You can also listen to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, DocDiscussions.com, and the Film IK Media YouTube channel at youtube.com/Film IK Media. What's Anthony T watching this episode? Well, Anthony T is watching a film that recently hit Shudder about a month or two ago called Night of the Reaper. And yes, this was one of those films that looked good from the trailer, so I was really excited to see this film. So when trying to find a film to review here this episode, I thought, why not review this film? Seriously, why not? What could go wrong? It could be good or it could be really bad. But before I do my review of the film, you know what that means. We're gonna go to the IMDb website for the plot synopsis. The film's about a college student. Dina visits home and is roped into babysitting. The local sheriff is mailed a piece of evidence and is led on a scavenger hunt to reveal the killer of another babysitter. I love how this has this mystery slasher type vibe to it. Hopefully it's good. So what did I think of Night of the Reaper? Well, I was kind of surprised with this film. Seriously, because literally going into this film, I was expecting this film to be one of those films that literally is the paint by the numbers type of slasher film. By that, I mean, sure, it's probably going to be a film that I enjoy. It'll have these things that I like to see in a slasher film. But it would just be a normal slasher film. Probably give the normal 3 to 4 star rating. But here, I was generally surprised with this film. Because literally, the first, I would say maybe 2/3 of this film, it was headed towards that paint by the numbers type of film. Even though I was enjoying this film, I like the slow burn approach and everything. But once we got to that third act and that major twist, it changed a lot of things, in my opinion, about this film. Seriously. Because I really started to really enjoy this film. Really was into this film. And sometimes you need a slow first and second act to set up a great third act. Because seriously, I like seeing those films where it just slowly takes its time. It doesn't rush the plot. It doesn't rush the action. It continues to go at a slow pace. Then all of a sudden, everything picks up. And those are the kind of horror films I really love. Seriously. Especially the indie horror films. That it will take its time to develop everything. And Night of the Reaper does a great job developing everything. A lot of the credit has to go to the screenplay of this film, written by director Brandon Christensen and his brother Ryan Christensen. I thought both of them did a great job with the screenplay here. I like the fact that they start off very slow, give you that opening kill in the opening scene that we are all accustomed to as horror fans. Then instead of rushing into all the kill scenes, it slowly happens through videotapes, which I kind of actually liked. And I also like the fact that they threw the whole thing off with the whole videotape thing too, because the videotapes are there to continue to drive the plot of this film and to get the point of view of the killer in this film, as you don't see the killer kill a lot in real time here, as a lot of these kills in this film are literally through the videotapes that are getting mysteriously sent. So I thought that was interesting way to do kill scenes for a film, as it really added to the frightening aspects as well. Another thing that I liked about what the writers did here was the fact that they made the scenes have a lot of dread to them right up until that third act. Seriously, it looked like it was a film that's going to have a lot of dread, and we're going to have a third act where it's just going to be a torture porn type film, pretty much. Because it seemed like it was heading in that direction, that we would get to that. But I was kind of surprised it didn't get that. Instead, it just went bonkers for some weird reason. And that's a good thing, literally, because you did not expect it to go that route. Sometimes I like films that go a different route, because I was not expecting the route this film would take with its third act. But anyway, it's just a credit to the writers. They did a great job with the way they handled the screenplay. The direction from Brandon Christensen was also very good here. I love the fact that he really does a great job setting up that third act in this film. I know it takes a while to get to that third act, but he really makes sure that he develops everything, the characters, the plot, everything is developed. And it has this slow burn type feel too, for the most part, especially when we're at the sheriff's house. That's where we get to that slow burn type of horror feel and nostalgic feel. And those tend to be really good ones, seriously. When you get to those nice nostalgic and slow burn type feels, then it just goes off in another direction, but it's not what you expected. And that's what really, I think, made this film very good. Christensen also does a really good job with the way he directs his cast in this film. I like how his actors are interested in the material, which I liked. And there's also seemed to be a lot of 80s references in this film. And even the feel of this film had an 80s feel to it, seriously. But it all worked out very well here, as I really loved Night of the Reaper. It's definitely something you should check out this Halloween season over on Shudder. It's one of those slasher films that will turn upside down in a good way, and you will love it. 5 stars. Well, that wraps up another edition of Auntie T's Horror Show. Next episode, I hope to get to my Lionsgate rant, because I do have one, seriously. And I teased it in the opening that I really want to get to this rant so bad, because it does have an infamous director involved in this rant. I won't tell you why he's so infamous until I get to the rant next episode. So that's a little teaser why this director is infamous. Because it's not a bad thing. I'm telling you right now, it's not any legal thing. But for me, if you follow film history and stuff, he is an infamous director. Because it has something to do with another studio. That's all I'm going to say. So I will get to that rant, and I will get to that little infamous story about him and that studio next episode. Because he's also part of the reason why this film series is tanking so badly. If you liked this episode, don't forget to subscribe to my podcast over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, and other podcast providers. You can follow Auntie T's Horror Show on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and the Slasher app. And yes, I know I haven't updated the Slasher app, but we'll eventually do so. With that, I want to thank you for listening to this podcast. Have a good day. Support indie horror. This has been a Film Arcade Media production.